The evolution of science fiction, from early beginnings to modern masterpieces. Hey there, fellow travelers of space and time. Welcome back to the channel where we geek out over all things science fiction. Grab your sonic screwdrivers and lightsabers, because today we're embarking on an epic journey through the vast cosmos of sci-fi history. Picture this. The Millennium Falcon jumping to hyperspace, the eerie hum of a monolith on the moon, replicants questioning their existence under neon-lit rain, and a time traveler stepping out of a blue police box. These aren't just scenes from movies and books, they're milestones in a genre that's been shaping our imaginations for centuries. You know, science fiction isn't just a genre, it's a way of thinking. It's the art of the possible, the improbable, and sometimes, the seemingly impossible. But how did we get from ancient myths to debating the ethics of artificial intelligence? Let's set our phasers to deep dive and explore how science fiction has evolved over the ages. Early origins of science fiction. So, let's fire up the old time machine, or maybe just the DeLorean, and travel back to the very beginnings of science fiction. Believe it or not, sci-fi has roots that stretch back millennia. Ancient myths often featured elements of what we'd now consider science fiction. For example, the Greek myth of Daedalus and Icarus isn't just a cautionary tale. It's one of the earliest explorations of human flight. Similarly, the Indian epic, Ramayana, dating back to the 5th century BCE, includes the Pushpaka Vimana, a flying chariot described in vivid detail. Then there's Lucian of Samosata's True History, written in the 2nd century CE. It depicts a journey to the moon, complete with extraterrestrial life forms and interplanetary warfare. Sounds familiar, right? Proto-science fiction literature. Fast forward to the 17th century, and we encounter Johannes Kepler's Somnium, a work that uses a dream framework to explore lunar astronomy and physics. Kepler even included extensive footnotes detailing the science behind his fictional journey, a practice that would become a hallmark of hard science fiction. Margaret Cavendish's The Blazing World is another gem. Published in 1666, it's considered one of the earliest examples of utopian fiction and features parallel universes, a concept that modern physics is still grappling with. During the Enlightenment, thinkers like Voltaire and Jonathan Swift used fantastical narratives to critique society and explore human nature. Swift's Gulliver's Travels, 1726, isn't just a satirical romp. It delves into the consequences of unchecked reason and explores different societal structures through the lens of speculative fiction. The 19th century foundations. The 19th century was a turning point, laying the foundational stones for modern science fiction. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is a masterpiece that intertwines Gothic horror with cutting-edge science of the time. Shelley was influenced by the experiments of Luigi Galvani and Alessandro Volta, pioneers in bioelectricity. She pondered the implications of reanimating life using electricity, a concept that was both thrilling and terrifying to her contemporaries. The novel raises questions about the ethical responsibilities of creators towards their creations, a theme that resonates today in discussions about AI and genetic engineering. Jules Verne, often called the father of science fiction, was a visionary. His works predicted the advent of submarines, space travel, and even video conferencing. From the Earth to the Moon, 1865, Verne's attention to detail and incorporation of real scientific principles set a new standard for the genre. He calculated the necessary escape velocity and proposed a gigantic cannon to launch a projectile to the moon, a notion that, while impractical, demonstrated an understanding of the physics involved. H.G. Wells took a different approach, focusing more on sociological and evolutionary themes. In The Time Machine, 1895, he introduces us to the Eli and the Morlocks, evolved forms of humans that serve as a critique of class division and industrial capitalism. War of the Worlds, 1898, wasn't just an alien invasion story. It reflected the anxieties of British imperialism and the vulnerability of even the most advanced societies. Fun fact: when Orson Welles adapted it for radio in 1938, the broadcast caused panic among listeners who thought it was real, a testament to the story's impact. Influence of industrialization on sci-fi themes. The Industrial Revolution brought about unprecedented technological advancements. Railways, telegraphs, and machinery transformed society. Authors began to explore not just the marvels of technology but also its potential downsides, like dehumanization and environmental degradation. Entering the 20th century, science fiction became more accessible and mainstream. Pulp magazines democratized literature. For just a few cents, readers could dive into thrilling stories. Hugo Gernsback's Amazing Stories promoted scientific education through fiction, coining the term scientifiction before it evolved into science fiction. These magazines were the breeding ground for new ideas and provided a platform for writers who would become legends. Influential Golden Age writers. Isaac Asimov wrote over 500 books in his lifetime. Talk about prolific. His Foundation series introduced psychohistory, a fictional science that blends history, sociology, and mathematics to predict the future, a precursor to concepts in statistical sociology and predictive analytics. Arthur C. Clarke, besides being a writer, was a scientist. His proposal for geostationary satellite communication in 1945 became the basis for modern satellite technology. Clarke's third law states, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, highlighting the potential of scientific progress." Robert A. Heinlein's work often challenged societal norms. His novel, Stranger in a Strange Land, 1961, introduced the term grok and delved into themes of sexuality, religion, and communal living, influencing the counterculture movement of the 1960s. Key themes. This era solidified the Big Three themes of sci-fi, space exploration, advanced technology, and the human condition. The stories ask not just where we are going, but who we are becoming. The mid-20th century was a whirlwind of technological and societal change. The dropping of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945 ushered in the atomic age. Sci-fi began to grapple with nuclear annihilation and post-apocalyptic scenarios. Works like Nevil Shute's On the Beach, 1957, depicted the grim realities of nuclear fallout. In the 1950s, UFO sightings and the Roswell incident fueled public fascination with extraterrestrials. This period saw an explosion of alien invasion films, reflecting Cold War paranoia. Expansion into film and television. Television brought sci-fi into living rooms. The Twilight Zone, 1959 to 1964, created by Rod Serling, used speculative fiction to explore complex moral and social issues, often with a twist ending that left viewers pondering long after the episode ended. Star Trek, debuting in 1966, broke new ground with its diverse cast and progressive themes. It tackled issues like racism, war, and human rights, all under the guise of space exploration. The show's portrayal of futuristic technology, like universal translators and handheld communicators, inspired real-world innovations. Exploration of new frontiers in storytelling. Sci-fi began experimenting with narrative structures. Authors like Kurt Vonnegut played with nonlinear storytelling and metafictional elements, as seen in Slaughterhouse-Five, 1969, which combines time travel and anti-war themes. The 1960s and 70s saw sci-fi becoming introspective and experimental. This period emphasized character development and psychological depth over space battles and gadgetry. The new wave was influenced by the social upheavals of the time, including the civil rights movement, feminism, and anti-war protests. Notable authors and works. Philip K. Dick questioned the nature of reality and identity. His novel, Ubik, 1969, blurs the lines between life and death, reality and illusion. Many of his works, like Minority Report and Total Recall, have been adapted into films, emphasizing their enduring relevance. Ursula K. Le Guin, with her background in anthropology, crafted worlds with intricate cultures and social systems. The Dispossessed, 1974, explores anarchism and capitalism through the lens of two contrasting planets. Octavia E. Butler's Kindred, 1979, uses time travel to examine slavery and its lasting impacts, blending sci-fi with historical fiction to powerful effect. Feminist sci-fi challenged the genre's male-dominated narratives. Authors like Joanna Russ with The Female Man, 1975, and James Tiptree Jr., the pen name of Alice Sheldon, explored gender dynamics and societal norms, paving the way for greater diversity in sci-fi. The advent of cyberpunk and beyond. The 1980s and 90s brought us cyberpunk, a gritty, tech-saturated vision of the future. Emergence of cyberpunk. High-tech, low-life, is the essence of cyberpunk. William Gibson's Neuromancer opened with the iconic line, The sky above the port was the color of television, tuned to a dead channel. The novel delves into cyberspace, artificial intelligence, and corporate espionage. These stories often critique the growing power of megacorporations and the erosion of individual privacy, issues that are incredibly relevant as we navigate data privacy concerns today. Influence on visual media. The influence of cyberpunk extended to cinema and beyond. The Matrix, 1999, combined cyberpunk aesthetics with philosophical questions about reality and free will. The film's depiction of virtual reality and AI has sparked countless discussions and academic papers. In Japan, Akira, 1988, and Ghost in the Shell, 1995, explored themes of human enhancement and identity in a hyper-technological society, influencing not just anime but global perceptions of future urban landscapes. Exploration of virtual realities and cybernetics. The genre anticipated developments in VR and AI decades before they became part of our daily lives. As we see advances in neural interfaces and biohacking, the questions raised by cyberpunk become increasingly urgent. Entering the 21st century, sci-fi continues to evolve and diversify. The resurgence of space opera returned with a bang. The Expanse series, starting with Leviathan Wakes, 2011, blends hard science with complex politics and social issues. The authors, Daniel Abraham and Ty Franck, writing as James S. A. Corey, consult with scientists to ensure scientific accuracy, adding layers of credibility to their universe. Diversity and global perspectives. Global voices are reshaping sci-fi. Lou Cixous, The Three-Body Problem, tackles the Fermi paradox and multidimensional physics, incorporating China's historical context and scientific advancements. Nnedi Okorafor's Binti series brings African futurism to the forefront, incorporating African cultures and perspectives into space narratives. Sci-fi across different media. Video games have become a significant medium for sci-fi storytelling. Cyberpunk 2077 Inches, 2020, despite its controversial launch, presents a richly detailed cyberpunk world that explores themes of transhumanism and corporate dominance. Streaming services allow for greater experimentation. Love, Death and Robots, 2019 Present, on Netflix offers anthology episodes that range from dystopian nightmares to whimsical sci-fi comedy, showcasing the genre's versatility. Modern sci-fi often grapples with issues like artificial intelligence and machine learning, examining not just the capabilities but the moral implications. Environmental concerns have also given rise to cli-fi, or climate fiction, which explores the future impacts of climate change. Works like Kim Stanley Robinson's The Ministry for the Future, 2020, offer sobering yet hopeful visions of how humanity might tackle the climate crisis through radical innovations and policies. The impact of science fiction on society. Science fiction doesn't just predict the future, it helps shape it. Many innovations were inspired by sci-fi. The concept of the flip phone, for instance, was influenced by the communicators in Star Trek. The tablets we use today bear a striking resemblance to the PADDs, personal access display devices, from the same series. NASA scientists and engineers often cite sci-fi as an inspiration for their work. In fact, SpaceX's Elon Musk has mentioned Heinlein and Asimov as influences on his vision for space travel. Sci-fi provides a sandbox to explore complex ethical dilemmas. AI rights, genetic engineering, and virtual reality addiction are just a few of the issues the genre tackles, prompting us to consider the ramifications before they're a reality. The role of fandom and conventions. Let's not forget the fans. Events like Comic-Con and Worldcon aren't just about cosplay and collecting merch. They're gatherings where ideas are exchanged, and communities are built. The 2019 San Diego Comic-Con attracted over 135,000 attendees, highlighting the genre's massive cultural impact. The future of science fiction. With private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin reigniting interest in space exploration, we might see a new wave of space-focused sci-fi narratives. Mars colonization stories are already gaining traction, reflecting our real-world aspirations and challenges in making humans a multi-planetary species. The rise of virtual and augmented reality technologies opens up possibilities not just for new stories but for new ways of storytelling. Imagine immersive, interactive sci-fi experiences where you don't just read or watch the story, you live it. Ongoing evolution of the genre. Science fiction continues to blur lines with other genres. We're seeing more crossovers with horror, mystery, and even romance. This fusion enriches the genre, making it more accessible and varied. Interactive and immersive storytelling experiences are on the rise, too. Projects like Bandersnatch, 2018, an interactive film in the Black Mirror series, allow viewers to make choices that affect the narrative outcome. With self-publishing and digital platforms, it's easier than ever for new writers to share their stories. This democratization means a broader spectrum of voices, especially from underrepresented groups, can contribute to the genre's growth. What a voyage it's been! From the myths of ancient civilizations to the quantum quandaries of today, science fiction has been our constant companion, pushing us to imagine, to question, and to dream. In a way, sci-fi is the collective daydream of humanity. It challenges us to ponder not just where we're going, but who we are. It warns us of potential pitfalls and inspires us to reach for the stars, literally and metaphorically. So, as we stand on the brink of new technological frontiers, let's keep engaging with these stories. After all, the next big idea that changes the world might just come from the pages of a sci-fi novel or the script of a sci-fi film. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this cosmic journey. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep imagining. The future is ours to shape.